I hope you all are fit and fine at home. As we all know, COVID-19 is spreading everywhere. So, are you taking precautions for that? If not, so now let's see. Use a face mask in public, wash hands with soap, avoid contact with sick people, never touch your face with unclean hands, and avoid large crowds. So these precautions we should follow. My name is Rajni Das and I am your assistant teacher. In class 4, you have studied about natural resources, industries, landforms like desert, plains, plateaus, etc. But now in class 5th, we are going to study about the whole world in detail, like largest desert of the world, Greenland, grasslands of the world, etc. So now let's start. What do we see? Yes, this picture is of globe, and this is only a first chapter, chapter number 1, the globe, a model of the earth. Now in this chapter we will study about the globe. Now in this lesson you will learn about the globe as a model of the earth, the lines of latitudes and longitudes and their features, the northern and the southern hemisphere and the global grid. So all these things we are going to learn in this chapter. So that this is the first topic, shape of the earth. As we all know that earth is round in shape, but when we look around, the earth looks flat. So it looks like it is like a table, and in the olden days people used to believe that the earth is flat. So it will start moving from one end, they will reach at the edge of the earth and they will fall. So how they used to think that the earth is flat in shape. But actually the earth is flat in shape. So can you recognize this picture? Yes, he is Ferdinand Magellan. Ferdinand Magellan was a Portuguese sailor. Now, why we study about Ferdinand Magellan? Because he played a very important role in proving that the earth is round in shape. Now, in next picture we will see how he proved it. So, how did he prove? So, here you can see these two pictures are there. So, what you can see over here in this picture, there are ships. So, Ferdinand Magellan sailed in the same direction. Here you can see the direction is given. So, he sailed in the same direction for 3 years and he reached at the same place from where he started. So, like this, he proved that the earth is round in shape, it is not flat. So now children, you can see this is the picture of the earth and the earth is round in shape. So now with these pictures, what you can understand children? Here you can see this is the surface of land and here you can see this is the surface of water. So now when we stand at one place or if we are standing over here, we can only see the land of the earth for a short distance. Here also if we are standing in front of the ocean, we can only see for a short distance. So we cannot see the curving surface of the earth. So to see the curving surface of the earth, we have to fly or climb high into the sky. Now, it is very difficult for us to see the surface. So, what we can do? We can travel by rocket into the space and from there we can see the curving surface of the earth. So, this picture is given by the astronaut. So, here you can see the earth is really looking like a huge ball and here you can see the curving surface of the earth. So when the astronaut they went into the space, so they have given this picture to us. So the earth really looks like a ball from the outer space. So later some other people also tried to prove that the earth is round like a ball. So who were those people? Yes, they were astronauts. Now who are astronauts? Astronaut are the people, those who travel into the space. Now, astronaut had given us this picture of the Earth, and the Earth really looks like a huge ball from the outer space, and here you can see the curving surface of the Earth. You all know that astronauts were there who proved that the Earth is rounded shape. But do you know, children, who was the first Indian man and woman to go into the space? So now this is your homework and you have to write and find out the answer. Now children, what you can see in this picture, there are two tools are given. Now why these two tools are given to us? Because the large size of the Earth makes it difficult to study as a whole. So there are geographers who have given us different means of representing the Earth on a smaller scale. So now who are geographers? Geographers are the people, those who study about the land. So they have given us these two important tools to study about the Earth. Now what are the two important tools? First one is globe and another one is map. Map we will study in the next chapter, in chapter number 2, and now we will study about globe. So here you can see the globe. So now this we will study in this chapter. Now look at this picture, children. Now tell me whether these cars are the original cars or a toy car. Yes, these are toy cars. Now why I am showing you these toy cars over here? Because these toy cars are representing the original cars. Now with these toy cars, we are able to understand the shape of the cars. Here you can see both are different cars and the design of these two cars. So with these toy cars, we can understand how the original cars look alike. Just now children, I have showed you the toy cars which were representing the original car. Now this globe also is representing a Earth, but on a smaller scale. With the shape and design of the globe, we can understand how the Earth look alike. So this globe is representing the Earth. Now what are the things that are shown on the globe? So now first let's read it out. Globe shows us the shape, location of the continents, oceans, seas, countries and the location of important cities on a smaller scale. So what it is showing us? It is showing us the shape and size and location of the continent, oceans, seas. Okay, so here you can see this is a picture. Over here in this picture you can see this blue color. This blue color is showing us the water bodies and this color is showing us the land masses on the Earth. And even here in this globe you can see over here this is what? This is our country India. So like this the globe shows us the location and the shape and size of the seas, continent and countries on a smaller scale. So just now we have seen the picture of the globe and here is the original one. Now you can see this is a globe. On this you can see the water bodies, oceans, continents and different countries. Next, now we'll see we can only see half of the globe at one time. So when we are using the globe, we can only see one half of the globe at one time. And if we want to see the other half of the globe, we have to turn the globe. So this is how we use globe, by turning the globe. Okay children? Now, it can be turned around. A line passing through it, this line is called the axis. So here you can see we are turning. So where now on which axis it is being turning? On this axis. This line you can see, this is the axis of the globe on which the globe rotates. So in this picture also you can see over here, this is the axis of the globe. This is the line passing through the globe on which the globe rotates. Next, can you see a different thing on this globe or in this picture? I have marked it also, children. Now can you see? Yes, the globe is not straight, it is tilted. The axis on which the globe is rotating, the axis is tilted. Means it is not straight but it is slanted. Now we will understand it in more broader way in our next picture. What do you think, children? That the globe or the earth is rotating on this straight axis? No, it is not so, children. It is rotating on a tilted axis. Here you can see this tilted axis is there. So the globe or the earth, they are rotating on this tilted axis and it is tilted on a degree of 23.5 degree. So this is how the earth keeps on rotating. Now by this we understood that the earth rotates in a tilted way. Now on the globe also we have seen the globe is rotating in a tilted way. So the axis of rotation of the globe is similar to the earth. How the earth will rotate, in the same way the globe will also rotate. Now the two end points of the axis of rotation are called poles. Now this is called north pole because it is towards the north, and this is called south pole because it is towards the south. So these are the end points of the axis of rotation and they are called poles, north pole and south pole, the northern and the southern hemisphere. Now we will understand what is northern and the southern hemisphere. So here you can see this line. Now let's see what is this line. Now midway between the poles is an imaginary line which is circling the earth, and this line is called the equator. Like on the globe also you can understand that midway between the poles, midway is an imaginary line which is passing and circling the earth. It is called equator, and these are all imaginary lines. They are not in real but they are all imagined to study about the earth. So this line is called equator. This line divides the earth into two equal halves called the hemisphere. Now when this equator divides the earth into two equal halves, they are called as hemisphere. The hemisphere or the portion which is towards the north pole is called the northern hemisphere, and the portion which is towards the south pole is called the southern hemisphere. So this is how you can see in this picture the equator divides the earth into two equal halves. This is the northern hemisphere and this is the southern hemisphere. Now can you find India over here in this picture? Yes. Here you can see India. It is a part of Asia and it is located in the south of Asia. Here you can see India is showing. Okay. So India comes in the northern hemisphere. Now we see how many continents are in the northern hemisphere and how many are in the southern hemisphere. So now look at this picture, children. Here you can see North America, Europe and our continent Asia, and half of the Africa is in the northern hemisphere. And now you can see over here in the southern hemisphere, there is South America and half of Africa, and this we all know it is Australia. So these continents comes under southern hemisphere. So here you can see this is a picture is given. Now what you can see in this picture? Yes, it is a huge globe. Yes, this picture is showing the world largest globe named Earth. It is three-dimensional, like how you see 3D movies, like that. So it is three-dimensional globe and it is located in USA. All landforms like mountains, plains, deserts are shown in 3D on Earth. Earth rotates just like the Earth does. So this is the 3D and a huge globe. On page number 3, children, we are having this another heading, latitude and longitude. Now let's understand what is it. Latitudes and longitudes. So here, why latitudes and longitudes are used and what are latitudes and longitudes. So to locate places on the globe, we need latitude and longitudes. So now in another picture, we will understand what are latitudes and what are longitude. So in this picture, you can see these vertical lines, horizontal lines are drawn on the globe. Okay, so we understand that what are these vertical lines and what are these horizontal lines are called and why they are being used and what are their features. What are latitudes? The horizontal lines are drawn parallel to the equator. Like the equator, they go around the earth. So here you can see these are parallel lines which are going equal to the equator. On the globe also, these are horizontal lines or parallel lines which are circling the earth. They are called the latitudes or lines which are parallel to the earth. So they are also called latitudes or parallel lines. So here you can see these are in the middle there is equator and these are lines of latitudes. And over here you can see this equator. Equator is the longest latitude. And as we move towards the pole, the latitude's size decreases. Next we will see what are longitudes. The vertical lines are semicircles that run from the north pole to the south pole. Now here you can see these are lines of longitude. They are running from the north pole to the south pole and they are equal in size and they are called longitudes or meridian. So here you can see from north pole to south pole they are running and they are equal in size. Their size is equal and they are forming a semicircle. They are coming from the north pole and going towards the south pole. So they are forming a semicircle. So this is called the lines of longitudes or meridian. So longitudes and latitudes are marked in degree and minutes. 60 minutes is equals to 1 degree. So this is how we mark these latitude and longitude on the globe. And these all lines are imaginary. They are only imagined to study about the earth. Now next is marking latitudes. How we mark the latitudes? The equator is marked 0 degree. Now you can see over here the equator is marked 0 degree and we move towards the pole so the degree increases. So the degree goes up to 90 and here also if we go towards the south pole the degree increases. The north pole is 90 degree north and the south pole is 90 degree south, which I explained you just now. The latitude of a place tells you how far north or south a place is from the equator. So the latitudes of a place tells us how far a particular place is from the north or the south pole. So the latitude of a place tells us how far north or south a place is from the equator. From the equator, how far north or south. For example, now a place with latitude of 45 degree north is located in the northern hemisphere, midway between the equator and the north pole. Now, if a place is having latitude of 45 degrees, so it will be here. So it will be between north pole and the equator. Numbers of latitudes are there. So there are 180 degrees of latitudes in all. So overall there are 180 degrees of latitude. There are 90 degrees of latitude in the northern hemisphere and 90 degrees of latitude in the southern hemisphere. So overall there are 180, and towards the north, in the northern hemisphere there are 90 degrees of latitude, and towards the south there are 90 degrees of latitude. So total it becomes 180 degrees of latitudes, and including equator it becomes 181 latitudes. Now we'll see latitudes and its features. Now you see this picture, children. These latitudes are at an equal distance from each other. They are not intersecting each other, they are at an equal distance. Now we see its features. Latitudes form complete circles. Here you can see, and in the previous also we have understood that latitude they form a complete circle. On the globe also we have seen that the latitudes are forming complete circle around the earth or around the globe. Then latitudes are 181 in number. Just now we have seen that latitudes are total, how much they are? 90 in the northern hemisphere and 90 in the southern hemisphere. And including the equator, it becomes 181. Latitude runs from east to west direction. So from east to west direction, the latitudes are running. Latitudes divide the globe into two equal halves called equator. This also we have done earlier, that equator divides the earth into two equal halves, that is called the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. Now children, when it is forming a complete circle, so it is forming complete circle on the globe, but only one place it is not forming a complete circle. Now which is that place? That place is the poles. Both these poles are only points. So that is why on these poles the latitudes are not forming complete circles. Next is four important latitudes. Except of poles and the equator, there are four important latitudes. Now let's read or understand what are those four important latitudes. One is Arctic Circle, Tropic of Cancer, Tropic of Capricorn and Antarctic Circle. These are four important latitudes. Now we see that these latitudes are located on which degrees. Now you can see over here children, there are degrees are given, 66.5, 23.5 and S and 23.5, N is given. So what is this N and S? These are north, N representing north and S is representing south. Now let's see these degrees of these each latitudes. Arctic Circle is located on 66.5 degree north. Tropic of Cancer is located on 23.5 degree north. Tropic of Capricorn is located on 23.5 degrees south, and Antarctic Circle is located on 66.5 degrees south. So these are the four important latitudes. You write it down also in your copy and learn it also. Now children, there is a question that Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn is having the same degrees, 23.5 and 23.5. Now why they are having same degree? Even when we see Arctic Circle and Antarctic Circle, they both are having the same degree. Why? Because these lines of latitude, these Tropic of Capricorn and Tropic of Cancer are at an equal distance from the equator. Here is the equator and they both are at an equal distance from the equator. In same you can see over here Arctic Circle and Antarctic Circle. They both are also at an equal distance from the equator. That is why they are also having the same degree, 66.5 degrees, and here also 66.5 degrees. So these are 4 important latitudes. Now on page number 4 you will see this did you know is given. Now let's read it out, children. If you stand at the North Pole, all directions point south. There is no east or west. Similarly, at the South Pole, all directions point north. Means, if you stand at the North Pole, all the direction will be pointing towards the south. There will be no east and no west. And similarly, when we stand at the South Pole, all the direction will be pointing towards the North Pole. So this is an important and amazing thing about the poles. Next, children, we will see the prime meridian. The longitude running through the Old Royal Observatory at Greenwich near London is marked 0 degree and it is called the prime meridian or the Greenwich meridian. So here you can see the prime meridian is there. So where it is located? It is located at the Old Royal Observatory, and the Old Royal Observatory is at Greenwich, and Greenwich is in London. For example, we can take like St. Joseph Convent School is at Itarsi, and Itarsi is in Madhya Pradesh. So likewise, this prime meridian is located in the Old Royal Observatory at Greenwich near London, and this is marked as the 0 degree meridian or the Greenwich meridian. From here we count towards the west and towards the east, because these all are equal, so they have taken this prime meridian as the 0 degree meridian. The equator divides the earth into 2 equal halves, that is the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. In the same way, the prime meridian is dividing the earth into the western hemisphere and the eastern hemisphere. With this picture you can understand that how the prime meridian is dividing the earth into 2 equal halves, and that is the western hemisphere and the eastern hemisphere. But in real, nothing is dividing the earth. These all lines, these hemisphere and everything what we are using, these equator, latitudes and longitudes, these all are imaginary lines only to study about the earth. Next, there are 360 degrees of longitude. So how many degrees of longitudes are there, children? 360. 180 degrees of longitude east of the prime meridian and 180 degrees of longitude west of the prime meridian. The 180 degree east and 180 degree west longitudes meet and form a single line on the opposite side of the world called the 180 degree longitude or the international date line. So here you can see in this picture also there is west and east, and here also west and east. In this picture clearly we can understand that towards the west is 180 degree of longitude and towards the east also there is 180 degree of longitude, and the 180 degree of west longitude and 180 degree of east longitude, they join to the opposite side of the world, they join and they form a single line, and that single line is called the international date line. And all together, these longitude, this 180 degree and this 180 degree together, they are 360 in number. On page number 5, you will see this picture is given. Now let's see. Here you can see this picture is there. Now we will see which are the latitudes and longitudes crossing India. Here you can see this is the latitude 30 degree, then here 20 degree north, then 10 degree north. So N is written. N means we are in the northern hemisphere. In the previous I have told you that India comes in northern hemisphere. That is why these latitudes are having N because we are in the northern hemisphere. And here you can see longitudes are given here 70 degree, 80 degree, 90 degree. So these are the longitudes passing from India. And here you can see this is the Tropic of Cancer, which is passing from Madhya Pradesh. This is passing from Vidisha. If you want to see the Tropic of Cancer, you can visit Vidisha. This is a picture of the strainer, and we all are having this strainer at our home. But what is the use of the strainer over here? Why I am showing you this? Because I want to give you an example about the topic which we are going to learn in the next picture. So here you can see there is horizontal lines also and vertical lines also. So these horizontal and the vertical lines, they are forming a network of lines. So now we will see how this is related to our next topic. Review time children. Now let's see what we have studied. A globe is a small model of the earth. So this we know now that the globe is a small model of the earth. The equator is an imaginary line circling the earth midway between the poles. It divides the earth into two equal halves called the hemispheres. So this also we know now that the equator, it is passing from the midway between the poles and is dividing the earth into two equal halves, that is the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. Then latitudes are horizontal lines drawn on a globe or map that go round the earth parallel to the equator. So this also we know that latitudes are parallel lines which go equal to the equator. So in this we have understood that about the globe, about the equator and about the latitude. Longitude are vertical lines drawn on a globe or map that run from the North Pole to the South Pole. So this also we have studied that longitudes are vertical lines and that are drawn on the globe or map to study about the earth. And they go from North Pole to the South Pole. Next, if we know the latitude and longitude of a place, we can locate it accurately on the global grid. So this also we have studied that if we know the latitude or the longitude of a place, both these things if we know, we can locate the place on the globe. So this also we have studied. Next is an activity for you children. What is it now? Draw a neat and clean diagram of the globe in your notebook. So you have to draw a neat and clean diagram of globe in your notebook. Homework children. So first question, what is a globe? Which is the biggest globe and where it is situated? Write and learn 4 important latitudes and what is an equator. So all these questions, answers you will get in your book. So this will be your homework for today. I hope that you have understood about the globe, latitudes, longitudes, their features and about global grid. Now I'll see you in the next class with a new chapter. Till then, take care of yourself, listen to your elders